Alright, so that page was so much fun. We're going to do it again. I have 2 of these left in my pack, and I've already cut it down to fit the size of our base page. So I'm going to go ahead and put the album aside for now. Alright, so grab you some black cardstock, the same one that we've been using. Well, I guess it's black. It sure looks black to me. Yeah, it's number 6. Alright, so we needed the same height as our base page, which go ahead and mark yours. Mine was like 10 5/8 or something. And then your width needs to be 7 1/2. And then grab your scoreboard. So I'm on the 7 1/2 side, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm folding the flap, and that's going to be at the bottom. So flap down here. And I'm going to have to turn mine. Sorry. Well, jeez, let me try it. Alright, from flaps on this side, so from the opposite side we're going to go 1 inch and make a mark. Same thing on the bottom. 1 inch, make a mark. I'm going to put my ruler on those 2 marks and make a line. Sorry. Okay. Now, from left side in, we want 3 3/4 and make a little mark where your line is. And then same thing on the other side, 3 3/4. Alright, then I'm going to flip my page. Why does that look so crooked? It's got to be something with my page, or my eyes, or both. Alright, so I'm going to go and push it till I reach those 2 marks, and then draw my half circle. Just ignore me. I just don't know why my dang line. Like, I guess it's just me. Nope. Yep, it's me. Alright, so we can go ahead and cut that out. I'm going to use my scoreboard for the straight lines, because I'm not. Erase the lines. Alright. So our second piece, grab your paper cutter, and we are going to cut it straight down the middle, 6 inches. Okay, and we're going to use one for the front and one for the back fold. So grab just a black scrap, as long as it's just not too wide, because it's going to be just like the other one. We're going to fold it. Part of it's going to be a flap, and go ahead and cut it at 3 3/4 inch. So it should be, it's going to be hard to see because it's got black on black. It should be just about this, there we go, the size of your curve there. So I'm just going to put it underneath And I'm going to put the top of the curve onto the top of the cardstock. And just kind of eyeball it side to side. And then we'll trace it and cut it out just like we did on the previous page. Okay. I've been using these curved scissors, so it's a little hard to move the paper only when my scissors are curved, but I think it makes maybe a little bit better cut. Yeah. Erase my line. Okay. So now again we need to make a mark for our holes. I'm going to get my hole punch this time. Alright, I'm going to put them together and punch them both at the same time. So if you can see it there. So I'm going to hold them together. I'll flip it around first. There we go. Now we got to make our little paper circles to go around. So grab whatever scrap paper you want to use. Like I'm going to grab this. And again, I think it was 3/4 of an inch. Yes, magnetic. Anything you can find that's 3/4 of an inch round. Two of the same color brads. I finally remember the word for it. Alright, I'm going to grab some glue and I'm going to put it, sorry, it's nighttime. It's a little bit darker. I'm going to put it in top of this brad. And then take one end. I think I missed recording this whenever I did it the first time. So I'm just going to wrap it around there, put a little more glue. Alright. Now we need to do holes in both of our little circles. I'm going to use a hole punch. And I did not get it centered. Oh well. Let's put it together. A little bit of my string poking out. Almost got that one too high. Oh well. It'll be alright. I definitely didn't get that hole centered, did I? Alright, so grab your base page. Make sure you have your 10 3/4 or 5/8 or whatever it was facing up and down. What we're going to do this time is it's going to be on the side. Then our other one is going to be over on this side. But let's see if we can find a sticker to kind of dress it up a little bit. Yeah, that's bugging me. Let's just fix it real quick and not tell anybody. Oh, come on. I'm just putting it really close to the hole. Hopefully everything will stay together. See if my brad will cover all that mess up. Well, that's a little bit better. Let's see what we got. Alright, so take out your scoreboard. And we just want to score to the right of the stickers, to the left, sorry, to the left of the stickers. Alright, I'm about at 1/2 inch, but check yours. There we go. So let's go ahead and glue this one down on the right hand side. Oh, it's been a long day. You know, because I hardly ever throw stuff away. Yeah, I can tell already it's going to be too big. Especially that one. Let me see this. I'm going to go ahead and glue it down, and then our page we put here should, you know, 6 inches. Oh yeah, that'll cover that up. So I'm going to use this guy, one of our scraps. Let's see which side. I'm going to use this side, the pretty flower. So if you don't have a scrap, you can go ahead and trace this. Now I know mine looks all crooked, but it's going to get covered up as soon as I put this other page on. All I need to do is mark for the width. I probably need to take a little bit off the height. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to take about another 60. This is 6 inches, so I'm going to make it down to 5 7/8. Well, you know what? We could use this side too, and it just was like one long extension. I think I'm going to do that. Tomorrow is Saturday, and I am going to get me another blade for my paper cutter. There we go. We have our side. Now this one I am going to have to cut because, yeah, this one's nowhere near deep enough. And there's that one. Sorry, I'm just looking for through scraps. Well, actually, I have another one of these. Let's do this. Now here we don't put one on the front. I'm just covering the back because of the brad, the little things that you fold. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue here and just move it to where I see those two are lined up. Alright, just get that out of the way while we work over here. I have this one. Let's see. I think it'd be alright to do this side again since there's so much black around to cover it. Wait, how do we do the other one? Oh yeah, the other one is black. Alright. So first I'm going to make a mark for the height. That looks good, and we're just going to have to take a little bit off on the width. At least mine is. This is hanging over some. Mine looks good. I'm going to glue it down, and when you glue it down, make sure you put it underneath this little guy here. I didn't mean to make that like noise. Alright, so I have this one, Together We Make Family, and I had a piece of yellow cardstock with it somewhere. This one? Nope. Oh well. Well, this one, we'll try. We'll just use black since that seems to be the theme of this page. I just like the way that looks. Let me see how wide this one is. Definitely more than a 16th. Okay, mine is black is 4.5 inches wide. And I'm going to just take it and glue it down and then cut. I'm going to look at the top and give it about the same distance as both left and right. I know this is larger than what we've always been doing, a 1/16 of an inch, but I don't know. Let's live on the wild side today. Now I'm going to cut the bottom with about the same distance. Just eyeballing it, because I can tell right there it's not perfect. So grab some of your scrap chipboard pieces, and it's gonna be here, but we're gonna pop it up, give it some dimension. Of course, I have to have a different. I have a different pair of scissors for everything. I'm gonna glue this down and then see how I like it, and see if I want to add any more height to it. Let's see what it looks like. Nah, I'm going to add another pawl to it. Let's see. I'm just going to stick this other half on here. Let me see if that makes it. Whoops. Yeah, I like it. Glue it down. All right, another page done. I'm gonna move everything out of the way. That first wraparound's a little much, but we got it. As soon as that paper starts curling, curling up, will be good. So grab your album. Page, I'm going to use this one, and this excuse me, never happened before. This sheet was not in the first pack I opened. It was in the second pack, and there's only one, so I don't know if y'all have this one or not, but pick a sheet for your last page, and I've already cut mine down to fit. And then I'm using this one, Together We Are Home. And then for the bottom, I'm using this number 5 right here. So let me set aside my album. Alright, so for the gray, you need one piece that is 12 by 6 1/4, and then with the scrap you need another piece that is 6 1/4 by 4. So set that one, grab the larger one, and grab your scoreboard. Alright, I have it on the 12-inch side. We are going to score it at 4 and then 1 notch over, which I believe is an 1/8. So the little notch between the 4 and the 4 1/4, and then the 8 1/2. Alright, so when we fold these, let me get mine straight. Your last piece here is going to be too small, so we're going to make that a hinge. So grab your paper cutter. So here's our first score, and then there's our second score. Put this second score at 1/2 inch and then cut that off. So it gives us a little hinge right there. And I'm just going to cut the corners a bit. Okay, so we're going to take this one and I'm going to glue it to our hinge. I'm trying to see if I want to glue it on the inside or the outside of the hinge. Let's see. I'm going to glue mine on the outside of the hinge. Whoops. It'll be easier to do it this way where I can see it, huh? There we go. So now what we have is a 2-fold. So grab your bottom page and make sure you're at what, 10 3/4, I believe it is. And we're going to take and glue this one onto the top. I'm just going to double check that it fits, and it does. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to open mine up this way, and we're going to put a little magnet here. Put a little tape to keep it in place. And I'm going to fold that one down. Let's see. I think I'm going to put a larger magnet on the back. So I'm going to kind of eyeball this. I want it centered around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put glue on the bottom. So what you're going to have is this is going to open, this is going to open, and this piece in the center is going to be glued down to the page. So if I just close it and flip it over, that's where I want to put my glue, and I'm going to put the magnet on the back of the bottom page. And we'll use a larger magnet back there. If you don't have any magnets, of course, you are more than welcome to use a tie. You could tie it from side to side or top to top, top to bottom. There we go. And I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to get one of my larger magnets and find where that's at. So we are getting low on our paper, so I'm going to use, whoops, I pushed it out of the spot. I'm just going to use some of our base color to fill these in. If you have scraps, grab them, just as long as it's just a different color. We can make them white. I've got tons and tons of white scrap. Back cover, I have chosen this, but I haven't cut it down yet, so set that one aside. And then I grabbed a few scraps. I have this one, and then this little guy here. Maybe when we go through and you understand what I'm doing, you can choose what you want. So for this bottom page, I'm using number 3. And we need 2 of them, and cut both of them down to exactly our back cover. So just like we have done with all the others, where it has just a little peak of that blue fabric around. And you'll need 2 of those, exact same size. Alright. So take one and set it aside. And then we have one, and make sure that you're marking on the top. So this one's like 10 3/4 or something. So make sure you're marking on the top, but I'm gonna have to turn mine sideways so I can mark better. All right, so what we want to do is, okay, from the top, go in and make a mark at 1 inch. Then make another mark at 1 3/4 inch. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So a mark at 1 inch, mark at 1 3/4 inch. Then take your ruler. I've got to turn it sideways, sorry I can't see it. And we're going to make a line. So I'm going to start with the 1 inch marks. And then the 1 3/4 inch marks. Alright. Now we need to go from the side in. So on our first mark, the one that's at 1 inch, we want to measure in 1/2 inch and make a mark. And then on the same exact other side, we want to do it again, put a mark at 1/2 inch. Now on our 1 3/4 line, we need to make a mark at 1 inch. And then the same thing on the other side, 1 inch. Alright, so take your ruler, and what we're going to do is, sorry I turned it off instead of, I started here. I don't think you can even see my marks. 1/2 inch, 1 inch. So we're going to take our ruler and draw a line from the 1/2 inch mark to the 1 inch mark. So what you will have is that. And I'm going to do that on the other side. Now, we have it at both sides. So what I'm going to cut out is, I'm going to start on this end, and I'm going to cut all the way to that first 1/2 inch mark. Okay, and then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to cut this angled line that we made. Okay, and then now I'm at that 1 3/4 line, and we're going to go across. Okay, I'm coming up on that other, whoops, sorry, I'm coming up on that other 1 inch mark. Come on, make it straight. Okay, I'm at that 1 inch mark. I'm going to turn and do that diagonal. Well, if I can keep myself on camera. So I'm going to turn and do that diagonal. And then back again and straight on that 1 inch line. So this is what we end up with. Okay, so grab our other piece that's the same size as our album, and this is going to be a pocket. It's going to sit on top of here, so we need something in the background. Let's see how big that is. So grab one of your scraps, and it needs to be at least like 2 1/4. Let's see what I have. This one's going to be on the top, so that, yeah, that's going to be really busy. Let me see, let me find something else, because we got a lot of them. Actually, I think, let me see if I have one. Nope, nope. I think that's probably going to be the only one I'm going to have that's wide enough. Yep. Alright, so that narrowed down my choices. I'm going to go ahead and put glue and put this one at the top. That looks crooked. Oh, well, it's down. Alright. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase these lines that show. Well, looks like it made an indentation on my paper, so alright. Oh well. So this is the piece that I want to put on this large pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it down from left to right so that we have that little edge we're always trying to get. There we are. I'm wondering if we could take this. No, that won't work. Alright, so just a little helpful hint, trick, whatever. I did not want to mess up my beautiful design paper, so when I'm having trouble like that, I just get a piece of copy paper and just try and figure out and see how it works, and then your copy paper is easily thrown away. Okay, so I have the width. Of course, it's going to be a little bit smaller because we want that black to show up. So what I'm going to do is bring this to the top and trace it. Trying to make it as... Alright, trace using the black as a template. Alright, I did have to cut it out and then adjust the sides a little bit, but that's the closest I could get. Alright, so I'm going to put my pocket back and test it and see if I need to adjust it. We just want our little border, and there we have it. Yay! Okay, I'm going to hold that in place. Then I'm going to go down and mark the length. That looks good, so I'm going to mark just a 1/16 inch in from the bottom of that dark gray paper. There we go. So now we, excuse me, we have a large pocket there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this, glue the design paper to the gray first. Alright, so we're going to actually do like a waterfall that's going to fold inside this pocket. So when I put this down, I'm going to go ahead and use some tape because it's going to be messed with a lot, and so it needs extra strength. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Jeez. Okay, we can go ahead and set that aside for a moment somewhere and grab some more of the dark colored in your paper cutter. And we're going to do a series of waterfall pieces, cutting and then scoring. So they're going to be, since it's going to be like multiple different sizes, we'll just do one complete cut and score. But the width of all of them is going to be 7 1/4, and I've got that fold right there. So let me go ahead and just mark mine real quick. All right, 7 1/4. Okay, so then we need to take and turn it. Wow, paper cutter. Let's start with 6 inches. So cut 6 inches, set that aside, grab your scoreboard. On the 6-inch side, cut it. I'm sorry, hold on, I'm going to flip mine around because this cut edge is pretty rough. So on that 6-inch side, score at 5 1/2. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just angle the corners like so. So set that one aside. Our next one is going to be 5 3/4. Did I mess that up? Hold on, just double checking. All right, 5 3/4. And then score on the 5 3/4 side, score at 5 1/4. Alright. The next one, I'm going to take this scrap piece. Well, no. We need to do our width of 7 1/4 again. I guess I should mark it on my paper cutter. Alright, so now we're going to turn it. This one we are going to cut at 5 1/2. So it is, that looks too small. Nope, it's 7 1/4 by 5 1/2. And take your scoreboard. I'm on the 5 1/2 inch side, and I'm going to go on this side, score it at 1/2 inch. Oh, I forgot to taper the corners on that one. And one more. We need it at 7 1/4, right? 7 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this one we will not score. Oh, this is driving me nuts, man. Okay, so this is the 5 1/2. It doesn't have any score. Okay, if you put them together, we're going to go smallest to biggest. So I'll measure them, just trying not to get it so confusing. Alright, this one is 5 1/2, but it has the flap. So I'm going to put the flap down and put some glue, which means I'm putting it on the outside, I guess. And then our 5 1/2 that has no score on it, we're going to put it on top of that flap. So that's what we have now. See the little flap glued in there. Alright, our next size up is 5 1/4. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm doing the outside part of the flap. I guess it doesn't matter. You can turn it whichever way you want. We're going to put that like so. So this is what we have. These two are the same size, and then this one's a little bit shorter. And then our last one, which is even a little bit shorter, we're going to do the same thing. I'll put glue on the flap, and this is the one that's shorter, and I'm just going to put it here. There we go. I hope that wasn't as confusing as it seemed like it was. Maybe if you wait until I put paper on it, it will probably be easier to see. But what we have is, see, you're graduating down, but this last piece is going to fit inside of this. So your waterfall, these three pieces will be the only part that's going to be shown. Alright, the page that I'm using is this one for the top. And what we're going to do is, well, let's cut it down and then we'll talk about it. So we know we're width is 7 1/4. So we're just going to do 7 1/4 minus 2/16, but I'm just going to mark mine. Okay, in order to save paper, we're going to put a little border on each one of them at the bottom, so they'll look like they're all the same. I know that's kind of hard to understand maybe, but let me glue this one down. Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to use this one because of these little rows in it. I'm going to make it the exact same size as the rows. Let's see. Because I'm going to do 7 1/4 minus our 1/16 of an inch for our reveal. And cut it down, maybe you can understand. Or you may want to use something completely different. Well, I can't get my paper straight. There we are. So we have that design on it. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down, and we're going to make this one a little bit shorter. So I need 3 of these. Let me measure it. Maybe that would help understand. It's 9/16. From the point width. So here you have 1/2 of an inch. It's one little notch past 1/2 of an inch. So the notch in between 1/2 of an inch and 5/8. That helps. One more. And then we got a little off. Alright, so I'm going to glue this one down at the bottom. Maybe you can see it better if I just do one at a time. Oh, this is driving me nuts, man. Sorry. Okay. So the second one, alright, so when it's closed visually, it looks like they're all the same page, but we're going to put a design on the top and then just regular cardstock on the bottom. So let me shorten this a little bit. Should have did that first. So that one's going to butt up against the yellow. Now I'll glue that one down. There we go. Now when we go for the inside part, we can use a white or whatever color, a lighter gray or something. But when you have it all closed, visually it looks like it's all the same page. But we need to make some little tabs for it, just to dress it up a little bit. We are going to use magnets to the closure. So we need 3 little tabs. So I am going to use whichever one. Let's see what this is. It's one of our leftover piece when we did that page. Mine is like 2 1/8. So what I want to do is cut it at wherever I wrote it down and I already forgot. Sorry. Hold on one second. I think it was, yeah, 2 3/4. And we need 3 of them. Two and 3/4. Alright, grab whatever you're using to make a circle. Let's see, let me bring you in here. Alright, so I have one of my pieces here and my ruler. So this one is the 2 1/8. I'm going to make a mark at one half, yeah, let's do 1/2 of an inch. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the other side. 1/2 of an inch. And then draw a line. Put my ruler on both of them. if you can see that. So I drew my line. Now on the line we need to go in 1/4 of an inch and make a mark. And then the same thing on this side, on the line, a mark at 1/4 of an inch. So now we have our 2 marks. We want to bring our paper from this longest side, and just like we've been doing, push it up to those 2 marks. And then make your circle. Then we'll cut that out and use a template. Use it as a template for the other 2. These are going to be the tabs that we're going to put on the bottom here, and they do not need to be this tall. So I'm just going to trim mine down. Let's see. So I'm going to go up 1.5 inches and cut it. Let me show you. So I'm going to put this straight, whoopie-doop, sorry. I'm going to put this straight part at 1.5 inches. That's not going to work. Alright, let's do 1.25 inches. Alright, 1.25 inches. Alright, so on my paper, I'm going to make a mark at where, oh, excuse me, jeez, we're overall 7 1/4. So make a mark at 3 5/8, and that's your number between 1/2 and 3/4. Then on these little guys, they're 2 3/4. So make you a mark at 1 3/8 on each one of them. Let's see, 1 3/8. Okay. So we're putting it on the back, and we want our pretty design paper facing up, so we should be good to just match up these 2 marks. So I'm just going to put some glue and then match up my marks, and I'll flip it over and show you how much reveal that I put on it. There we are. So I just barely have a little bit on each side. Okay. So the next one, again, that's 3 5/8. And then the third flap, three 5/8. There we are. Now we have our 3 together. So I'm going to use magnet closures on these. So I'm going to grab my tape. I'm going to use small magnets. I'm going to just put one on each. Test it out and see if I want to put a magnet on the last one. Probably do to get it to stay. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put it on. I skipped this one. There we are. Now I'm going to use white as my background. Let's see if any of these, nope, those are all going to be too small. Okay, so now the only thing we need to do is to cut up all our extra pieces. I have a few. I probably, you probably have more than me. I think I messed up a few times. So I've got a couple, and then some of the cutouts. So I'm going to make a lot of the folders since we made so many pockets on this album. I'm going to make a lot of little folders. Maybe some 3. I know some of them we did 3, didn't we? One of them in here is 3. Well, this is it. Some of them like this. And then we'll go through and I'll go through and put them in all our little pockets. And then we'll be done. Okay, so I finished mine. I got all of my photo mats finished and stuffed in and around. I just wanted to show you one change that I made with this page. I added this center photo mat. It was just too blank. It was bugging me that this whole center was nothing. So I just put some dark colored cardstock around the back, and it's just glued down to the page. It's not popped up or anything. And there's part of my cutouts. And then the other thing I did, this pocket is so large that anything will fall down there, or any 4x6 if you don't have any large photo mats would kind of go down there and get lost. So I took some of my stickers and then I backed it with a white cardstock, and I just put glue on the top and attached it to the front only. And then that way, I did the same thing with this one. And that way when you put it here, you can have it catch on that pocket there, and then they won't go up underneath there and get lost. But everything else we did together in the same, well, I did this one too, but I stuck it in this pocket instead. See, it's just top glued at the top. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Mostly hope it wasn't too confusing in any parts. If it was and you had some trouble, just let me know. Just leave a comment below and I'll try and help you out. Thanks, guys. Bye.